What's up? How do you open it? Action. Hey, what's up? My name is Alicia and welcome everyone to my channel. And for those of you who don't know, I am engaged. And we are having a destination wedding. And to all my friends who got married, thanks for telling me that it was like a part-time job. This process has been very new. I mean, I guess regardless if it's destination or not, throwing a wedding is a new thing for everyone, unless it's not your first time, which is also fine. I put together 8 tips for planning a destination wedding. Yeah. So my number one, I think this has been so beneficial for me. I joined a Facebook destination wedding forum and it has been awesome. It's kind of like every question you could possibly ask has been asked in there. And if you don't, everyone is so helpful because we all understand each other. So it's kind of like your new friends that you'll never meet and never recognize in real life, which makes it so much easier to kind of ask dumb questions. This is the one time that I say there aren't any dumb questions, because usually I think that there are. But weddings are such a big expense. You really want to make sure that you are completely understanding all the fine lines. And then they also have Facebook forum groups for like specific resorts, like brides of Azul Fives, brides in Cancun, brides in Dominican. So holding for a sound. Airplanes. And it also helps with like the things you don't even know to ask. It's already in there. And then on the side, it has like a search bar where you could literally just type in like save the dates and you could see everything that was brought up from years, from clothes, how relevant it is or how recent it is. The people in that group are more honest about prices. I feel like sometimes people will tiptoe and companies will tiptoe and certain vendors will tiptoe, or, you know, I feel like everyone is pretty transparent on the forum because we all know how it feels. You want to make sure that you're getting the best deal for you and your guests. They kind of become your like emotional support or your moral support, and everyone is so kind in there. So I definitely would recommend that being your first thing to do, because they can literally guide you. That whole page can guide you through the rest. So yeah, join that Facebook forum. My second tip for planning a destination wedding is make a list of everything that you want, like your perfect ideal location, situation, kid-friendly, all-inclusive, what country, where you want the ceremony and the reception. And what I mean by that is, do you want it on the beach? Do you want it in a gazebo? Do you want it in a sky terrace? What's the feel that you want? I know I didn't want to do like a beach ceremony, even though I love the beach. I don't like the sand, and I don't want the sand in my toes. I don't want to be walking in the sand. And some hotels, like boutique hotels or whatever, have their own vibe. Like, do you want something minimal? Do you want something modern? Like, what is important to you? Because that will definitely help you narrow it down, because there are so many options. So my third tip is to find a travel agent. The best thing about a travel agent is they are free. Everyone loves free, especially when it comes to a wedding. There are some that I spoke with that do charge like a small fee that they say it's $500 or $250 or whatever, but why pay anything when you can get it for free? And I would definitely talk to a couple different travel agents to kind of, everyone's a little bit different. Who do you like more? Who do you vibe with well? Whose energy do you like? And if you go on a Facebook forum, they will give you lots of recommendations. Get a travel agent. They will be your new BFF, your road dog, right by your side the whole time. Usually the way that it works is, the way that I did it is I called a couple different ones and I gave them, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is the price that I feel comfortable paying. This is the price that I feel comfortable with my guests paying. Then they get, they'll ask you like, what is your ideal wedding? And luckily for you, you already made a list. So you tell them that list and they will get back to you within however many days with their suggestions based on what you've said. If you don't like them, you could always switch them. I had a travel agent originally that I was working with, and I told her everything I wanted, and she gave me her suggestions, and I asked other people too. And I started to realize that I was getting a lot of the same suggestions, and that just seemed weird. I was like, out of all of these places, everyone is sending like the same resorts, the same hotels. Like, there's nothing else. Because when I went to go look on my own, I'd be like, oh, well, what about this resort? I saw this one and I really liked it. She seems so disinterested and not really eager to help me with that. And then I later realized that travel agents get certain commissions and benefits when they book people with specific resorts. So be careful with that, because there's a lot of ones that are super popular because these travel agents are getting incentives. So don't let a travel agent persuade you to have your wedding somewhere you don't want to have it. If it's not what you want, don't do it. And if they keep insisting, leave them. There is no contract at this point, at least. You don't sign a contract until you actually have a room contract, which that's later. I feel like that's the number one thing that people say is get a travel agent, because people are going to have a lot of questions. I mean, it's an investment for them as well, so you want all their questions answered, but you're planning a wedding. So all you have to do is say, talk to my TA. That's what they're called. TA, travel agent. You'll get hip to it, the lingo. So yeah, get yourself a free travel agent. Ding! I make my own sound effects. The fourth tip I have is research. You got to look at everything. I mean, at least I do. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Anywho, whatever. Research is so important, because what you see online is not as it always is. The way they're going to present their wedding packages is, look at this glorious beach. Look at this glorious gazebo thing, whatever. But if you go on Vimeo, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, go on tags photos, tags locations, hashtag, literally you name it, I look through it. I look through the comments, I look through the good comments, I look through the bad comments. I want to know everything, because a lot of the times their pictures that are on their sites and their packages are staged. So a lot of times these gazebos are right next to a pool area. Honestly, majority of the gazebos that I found were next to a pool area. And that was kind of like the biggest problem for me. Even though when I asked about it in the forums, was it distracting that you were right next to a pool? Everyone always says it doesn't matter. Once you see your husband at the end of the aisle, everything is blocked out. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'd see him, and I don't want to be saying my vows and someone's staring at me, at the pool in their bathing suits or Speedo. Not my jam. So yeah, do your research, kids. Do it. It'll help you in the long term. Do it. Okay, so the next tip is have a budget. That's very important. Also, let me make it clear, this isn't I'm not giving you the exact order, because maybe the budget should be the first thing you do. I don't know. Budget is super important, because it's everything. Have a number and then expect to go over it. A lot of them are packaged price, but the way that their packages are set, most of them are set for 20 people. So it'll be you get your ceremony and your reception. Maybe it'll give you one, the bride's bouquet and the groom's boutonniere, but you have to pay for everything else. So be careful with that, and make sure you see what's included, because some of them include a welcome party or a reception dinner or a brunch after your wedding, just look what's in your package. After you have your base package for, let's say it's $3,000, but it sounds great, $3,000, but it's for 20 people and every additional person is like $100, give or take. So look at your budget and go back to the list of the things that you do want, because they'll still add fees for, like, if you want a rehearsal party, it's not included. It's just know your budget and know you're gonna go over it. So under budget. I would always say like flowers. Flowers is the one that I'm just like, what? I had no idea that the bridal bouquet could be like $500. Also keep in mind, if you're not using the resort's vendors, if you use outside vendors, there's vendor fees, which are usually, from what I've seen, $800. So you have to pay like $800 just to use them and then pay their fee. Sometimes that works if it's something that's really important to you and you don't like anyone at the resort. Like, I would say photography and videography. Like, some resorts have their own people, but if you don't like any of them, you might have to pay for outside. And sometimes certain vendors have worked with the resort, or they'll work with you and give you a better price because you have to pay the vendor fee. So yeah, just keep in mind that these numbers are going to be numbers you've never heard of before. So yeah. So my next tip, I don't even know what number I'm on, but my next tip is to buy a planner. I feel like I hear so many different opinions on planners, but I'm like, look, I told you this wedding planning is like a part-time job. Invest in your job. I'm not saying buy an expensive one. Like, people buy like $60 ones, $100 ones, and they're always like, I didn't even open it, or I didn't even use it. But look, this is mine. This, I got it as a gift from a friend who didn't use hers. And it was only $8, $7.95, maybe $8.25 with tax. I don't use it the way that it's supposed to do, but it is a separate book for me to just write out just whatever random stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of different resorts here, and I just wrote like what I like about it and what I don't like, the pros and cons of each. There is literally no method to my madness, but have something where you can write down your ideas, write down your budget, break down, like, they have budget suggestions. Some of these things I didn't even think about adding into my budget. Guest book, ring pillow. What? I would have never budgeted for a ring pillow. It's just coat check, parking, gratuities, service, programs, place cards, websites. Like, get yourself a planner for your new part-time job, okay? My next tip is to check the weather. This one is kind of tricky because weather is tricky. I feel like I've already prepared myself, like, if it rains, don't let that put you down. I even looked up weddings in the rain. You just can't control the weather. But what you can control is the prices. There's peak season and low season. So if there's a place that you really like, but it's really expensive for your guests, look at off season. But be careful of hurricane seasons. That's a big one that makes me nervous, because anywhere in the Caribbean, for the most part, is usually always warm. But we just had a hurricane. What is that? You could find a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Name that song. Miss Jackson. So just be aware that there's pros and cons to weather, because sometimes, they always have a plan B as well. Like, it'll just go inside. Keep weather in mind as a factor of price range, heat range. So my last and final tip is balance. I don't know what else to call it. Look, this is a lot of pressure and a lot of stress because you're involving so many people to travel. So balance other people and yourself and your emotions and their emotions. And it is your day, but it is their vacation, but it is your day. Some people don't travel much, and traveling could be scary for them, so they might not feel comfortable going. And you have to respect people's opinions of if they can make it or not. The number one thing that I have heard about destination weddings is you'll be surprised at who does come and who doesn't come. People are gonna have an opinion on where you have it, your colors, whatever. Just try and find a happy balance, because I mean, it's ultimately for you and your future husband and what you guys want. And in the end, that really is all that matters. I know it's hard to say and it kind of feels selfish to say, but the people that are supposed to be there will be there. And we're just super grateful for everyone that's going to be there. So I hope these tips helped you out. These are just some of the things that I wish I knew all at once, instead of like finding a whole bunch of different things that I clicked on and figured it out separately. I wanted to make a video and just give you guys all of my top tips, because I think it'll be really helpful. And remember, it's your day. Don't stress. Have a glass of wine while planning. I mean, what? The possibilities are endless. Yeah, and have an awesome wedding planning time. Bye.